Hey everyone, welcome to Play Jason. My name is Jason. I write for Guitar.com, the Fretboard Journal, and I'm a co-host on Working Class Music. So in this video, I kind of wanted to respond in kind because I noticed online some folks are less than enthused about the Player Series 2 Jaguar and the Affinity Jaguar. And I also noticed these opinions were kind of based on the features rather than the sound, since no one that displayed these opinions had the guitars. So I figure since I have the guitars, I can provide you a guide and compare how it does sound to other Jaguars. So let's go through each of these three contenders. But first, I want to give a huge thank you to my friends at Sweetwater. They sent me out the Vintera 2 Jaguar to make this video. Also, good shout out to my friend Colin, who provided the Affinity and the Player 2 Series Jaguar. Yes, he works for Fender, but all of these thoughts are my own. I am not doing this on their behalf. So let's jump in order from least expensive to most expensive. So first up, we have the Affinity Jaguar, which is brand new for 2024. This is also the first time it's made its appearance in the Affinity lineup. For those of you who don't know, the Affinity is more of Fender's stripped down offerings for beginners. So it lacks a bit of the accoutrement that you would see on something like the Vintera 2. Notably absent would be the rhythm circuit. Other than that, there's one big noticeable difference, and that is the pickups. The pickups are single coil, but they are more of a Strat pickup, so they don't have the magnetic claw that a typical Jaguar pickup does have. Other than that, we have the normal bridge to vibrato ratio, so it's vintage style, and it comes with a maple fretboard. It is still a short scale affair. Now, onto the Player 2 Jaguar. The Player 2 Jaguar is new for 2024. It is an update to the Player 1 Jaguar, which came out a few years ago. And for the history buffs, the Player 1 was the successor to the Made in Mexico standard, which didn't have a Jaguar, and it first made its appearance in the Player 1 series. The goal for the Player 2 and the Player 1 and the Made in Mexico standard was to offer a more stripped down version, if you will, of their famous guitars. So for the Player 2, some of the things that they changed was you get the classic gear tuners. They brought back rosewood. Thank you. You do have the Jaguar single coil pickups in both the neck and bridge position. You do have a more modern break ankle in terms of the bridge and vibrato ratio. Other than that, there is no rhythm circuit, and you do have a three-way selector. Next up is the Vintera 2 Jaguar. This is for the vintage enthusiast. It's basically a one-for-one recreation of a 70s era Jaguar. So you have all the proper trimmings, if you will, a rhythm circuit, the strangle switch, a 7.25 inch radius. You do have the proper bridge to vibrato ratio. Other than that, you have these 70s style tuners, and yeah, let's compare these. Let's make some noise. For this demo, I am going to be using the 1981 DRV. That is one of my favorite drive pedals, and that will be going into the Supro Royale. So let's get started. Bridge. Middle position. drive, bridge. Middle. Neck. All right, so since I have all three of these guitars and I can be a voice of authority on it, unlike some people rambling on the internet who don't, I'm going to give you my thoughts on who these are for. So let's start with the Affinity Jaguar. I think the Affinity Jaguar is probably the best Affinity guitar I've played. I think this guitar that's priced at $300 is definitely a good bang for the buck if you are looking for your first guitar, or if you're a new guitarist, if you will, or if you're on a budget. And if you are an experienced player and you want something to mod, it's a fantastic mod platform. As of the filming of this, I haven't taken the pick guard off. I could be wrong, but I doubt that it's routed for a rhythm circuit. But if it was, that'd be pretty damn cool. Let's jump up from there to the Player 2. Are the Player 2 and the Affinity pretty much the same thing? No. You can hear it in the sound examples. The Affinity does have more of a stratish bite, if you will. They do overlap a little bit, especially if you're playing it clean. You'll notice the difference more so when you start playing it dirty. It is very much a Jaguar in sound, and it is very much a Jaguar in shape. I know some people are like, well, it's missing the rhythm circuit and yada, yada, yada. That's the point. That is the point of the introductory series, which is the Player 2. But the Player 2 is an overall improvement to the Player 1. If you are wanting your first, as they say, big boy guitar, best bang for buck in the $1,000 price point, I would definitely recommend this over the Classic Vibe. I'm not saying that as a diss to the Classic Vibe. I think the Classic Vibe is awesome, but I do think this plays and sounds better. And if you can get over it not having a rhythm circuit or a lead switch or the vibrato trim placement, you will do yourself a really good service by enjoying this guitar. So that's my opinion on that. And last but not least, the Vintera 2. I think this is a Jaguar purely for the Jaguar fan. If you want all the dressing and everything that makes a Jaguar to some people, the rhythm circuit, strangle switch, everything, this is it. I have said this on the Working Class Music Jaguars episode. I think the Vintera 2 is by far the best Jaguar Fender has released in a long time. Do I think it is a bit expensive? Yes. However, playing the Player 2 and the Vintera back-to-back, there is a stark difference. Not only in feel, not only in sound, but everything. Comparing it to the Player 2, I think it's fairly priced. Like, if you want the best Jaguar you can get under $2,000, the Vintera 2 is it. Out of the three, which one is my favorite? I'm going to stick with the Vintera 2. I don't think the Player 2 or the Affinity 2 is any less of a Jaguar in the sense of how it sounds. Sure, it doesn't have the features of the Vintera 2, but I think you're missing the point if you're looking at those guitars for that. These are just stripped down affairs for people who don't care and just want to rock. And for that, I think it's awesome. I think right now we have so many choices for guitars for offset enthusiasts, and really, from working in a music store, I predict that the Affinity is going to be a very popular model because this is going to be the guitar for someone who just wants their first guitar and a like Fender Mustang LT25 amp, and they're good to go. Or it's going to be a great mod platform. So those are who I think these guitars are for. I do have a written review coming for the Affinity and the Player 2 Jaguars. I'll let you guys know when that is up if you care to read that over on guitar.com. Other than that, I'd like to say thank you again to Sweetwater and Colin. Really appreciate you guys letting me do this. And I think all three are wonderful guitars. Whichever one you like the best in terms of sound, try to get your hands on it and try it in person before forming an opinion. So with that said, laters.